Always start with a hook. That was a lot less lame in my head. Yes, it is the first week of my bachelor's degree in education at the University of Queens. It has been a wonderful week. For my Prof 191 class, I had to read this book, which is written by Alfie Kahn and talks about the problems with standardized testing and how very smart students can do poorly and how students that don't really understand the material can actually do really, really well. In one of our other classes, the professor gave us a text entitled Markobine-Gando? The Markobine-Gando test thing. Google it, you'll see what I'm talking about. In the version we got, most of the words were replaced by non-existent words using English letters. So we had to read this text and then answer questions on it. And then we saw, what the proper answers would be. You match the words in the question with the words in the text and you figure out what the correct answer is, but you have absolutely no idea what you're doing. What was interesting was that most of us, in fact, at least 80% of every student in that classroom of over 300 could get the right answer. We have absolutely no idea what we read, and yet we could get a super good grade on this fictional test. What I found really interesting is that we test the students' knowledge on our terms. We make up a list of questions that we expect them to answer, and if they answer correctly, then they must know what they're talking about, and if they don't, then they must have no clue, or maybe half a clue of what they're talking about. Not only can it be not the ideal way to determine what someone's thinking and what they understand, but it also puts a lot of pressure. I remember being a student in high school. I remember how much I wanted to do well in class. I wanted to get good grades. I wanted my parents to be proud of me for getting an A+. What if a kid failed an exam, he would have the chance to get some bonus marks to bring up his grade by telling you what he knows and what he learned, or maybe something that you learned outside of your classroom that's still related to what's in your classroom in some way. What if a really determined student didn't do so well and wanted to bring up their grade and they could do some extracurricular stuff to get some bonus marks? I'm just brainstorming here. I recognize classrooms are very big and you can't be one-on-one with every student, but there has to be ways that we can make it a bit more interactive and that we can see them learn and show us what they learned more on their terms and less on our terms. If we're focused more on them telling us what they learned instead of us asking pointed questions, maybe there could be even less misconceptions after they graduate. In my Introduction to Teaching Physics class, it was brought to my attention that some people graduate without knowing what causes the seasons, without fully understanding magnets, without really knowing what light is, even though nobody technically does. I'm probably wishful thinking a lot, but I think that if we find a way to get the kids more involved in their learning, then they'll enjoy learning. All that to say, really, that I had a great first week here, and it got me thinking about a lot of stuff, and I'm sure I will learn a lot in the year to come, and I'm very excited to see how my opinions kind of just develop based on more theory and actually doing some stuff in class and getting a better idea of what reality is, and hopefully piecing things together and getting an idea of what I could do in a classroom. So I will see you next week.